further. When I had, you guys know I started a website back in the day, a fledgling sports website, a blog at the time. And I was still working my job at a magazine. I worked at this magazine, Us Weekly. So fun. Great job in New York City. I was living the dream, baby. But I saw an opportunity with the website, so I had quit the job, and I was doing the website full time. And I'll never forget, the wife and I quit like right before winter break, so I could like have a little fun over winter break. And the wife and I started watching this show called The Office. You know, this was at the time of like DVDs or whatever. So I think we downloaded or bought the entire first 4 seasons of The Office. And we get really into the show. It stars Steve Carell. And there's a gentleman on that show named Andy Bernard who went to Cornell, if you watch the show. And he had an incredible line that has stuck with me until today. I want to get it exactly right. I wish there was a way to know when you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Okay? Let that sink in for a moment. And now let's turn to the Dallas Cowboys, who have won 12 games each of the last 3 seasons. Those were the good old days. They're gone. It's over. This team is disintegrating as we watch it week by week this offseason. Between Jerry Jones and his "we're going all in" nonsense, followed up by crickets in free agency, mediocre moves in the draft, a quarterback who's looking to get paid, a coach who's looking for a contract and is fed up with the owner, a wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb who wants to get paid and is now threatening, I ain't going to camp if I don't have a new deal. And then we've got the latest bomb, which dropped over the weekend. It's defense on defense crime, okay? You guys know Malik Hooker, former Ohio State defensive back, won a chip with the Buckeyes. Very talented player. He came on the same year that the Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons. And Malik Hooker went on Keyshawn Johnson's podcast, All Facts, No Breaks. And here's what he had to say about defensive star Micah Parsons.
My advice would be for Micah would be, you know, just make sure we're all right, you know, and being where your feet are. Because if we're at work and, you know, the run game's terrible, but you're doing a podcast every week and, you know, the run game is terrible, then, you know, what are you really caring about? Are you caring about the crowd that, you know, is watching your podcast? Are you caring about the success of our team and the Super Bowl that we're trying to reach?
Oh, boy. Of course, Micah Parsons didn't take long for him to see this, and he then replies on social media, "Bro, you're my locker mate. Why don't you tell me this instead of go announce it on a podcast?" And that's where it gets interesting, because it's like, okay, Malik Hooker's a veteran. Well, why would he do this? Why wouldn't he just, you know, tell Micah Parsons, "Hey, man, show with the podcast our run defense stinks"? And it brings up an interesting question, because back in April, if you guys remember, a Dallas radio host pointed out that 4 different sources in the locker room have said they're fed up with Micah Parsons. All the success went to his head, the early numbers, the Defensive Player of the Year votes, all this stuff has gone to his head, and he's a bit of an egomaniac, according to some Dallas radio host. And I don't know about you guys, but I think back to how the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones really built that dynasty in the mid-90s, and it was the Herschel Walker trade. That was the impetus that started everything in the right direction. And a lot of people think, oh, you just move on from Dak. Okay, it doesn't really solve your quarterback problem, and Dak was... Oh, that's right. He was a runner-up for MVP last year. Okay. So then there's CeeDee Lamb, who's very good and, you know, obviously one of the top 5-6 receivers in the league. And then there's Micah Parsons. And I mentioned this, I don't know if it was recently or last month, but as good as Micah Parsons has been in the regular season, dude's been on a milk carton in the playoffs. Let's run the stats. I know this is not going to make Micah Parsons happy. I'm sorry. It's just the stats, Micah. But in the playoffs, you basically ghosted the Cowboys. 1 sack in 4 games, a whopping 4 quarterback hits. You're not forcing fumbles. The regular seasons have been awesome, obviously. But where is the guy in the postseason? Oh, you mean teams can scheme him out? Or they can run at him because he's not a great run defender? Oh, okay, gotcha. And now he's doing a podcast, and it's clear not everybody has the gravitas in that locker room to challenge Micah Parsons. The dude's an alpha. He's a monster on the defensive side of the football. He goes to all like the Mavericks games. He's a big dude around everybody loves him. So who's willing to challenge him? And that's Malik Hooker, a veteran. Maybe, just maybe, Micah, Malik Hooker speaking for the locker room when he's saying, hey, man, maybe you should show with the podcast and kind of focus on, our product on the field. Now, I know we could say Malik Hooker, that's out of pocket. He's recording a podcast. What is that, an hour of his time, 2 hours? Come on. Okay. But there's clearly a faction in the locker room that thinks that. I don't think Malik Hooker's gone rogue here to put this out there. Maybe Dan Quinn would talk about it if asked in Washington. I don't know. Is anyone else capable of standing up to Micah Parsons? We know Jerry Jones ain't going to do it. He loves his homegrown guys. He don't want to get rid of CeeDee Lamb or Micah Parsons. I'm just putting it out there. There's a couple teams with a quarterback on a rookie deal who can make a move for Micah Parsons and pay him. I mean, I think the Cowboys have to be serious. If you're trading one of the big three, because you can't afford all of them if you want to keep this train rolling, I think Micah Parsons has got to be the guy. You'll get a big haul. I think Jalen Ramsey fetched 2 firsts back in the day when the Jags traded him. Why couldn't Micah Parsons fetch 2 firsts? Why can't Dallas get a haul for him and quickly reset? I mean, it's much easier to find a pass rusher, is it not, than it is a quarterback? And you could say, well, Dak's not a franchise quarter. Okay, he was runner-up for MVP, but continued to take shots at Dak Prescott. I mean, again, I showed you the Micah Parsons playoff numbers. They're not there. And it's a sample size of 4 games. I get it. Look around the league. Defensive edge rushers can be had anywhere. And you're telling me this guy, he's causing rifts in the locker room? Woo-hoo! Cowboys, y'all got problems. Let's go to Alex Curry with the news.
No. Turn on the news.
It was awesome. Got a little pushback online expectedly. But then I'm in San Diego over the weekend, and my phone starts blowing up. LeBron is going to take less than the max. Lakers are going to get free agents. And I'm doing a victory lap like you haven't seen. Folks, I'm telling my kids, guys, I nailed this take. It was so good. And they look at me, Dad, can we go get gelato? Yeah, can we go get some ice cream? They don't care. And then I text the staff here, this might have been my greatest take in 2024. Feeling good. Oh, and I know all the dopey social media accounts that follow this show, and criticize us when we whiff. They're going to give me props for nailing this, right? I felt great about this LeBron take. And then it comes out, well, LeBron wants 4 or 5 guys, and slowly but surely, over the weekend, they start coming off the list. James Harden, not coming to Lakers. Jonas Valanciunas, he went to the Wizards. And then the big one, Klay Thompson. That one hurt. That stung. Klay Thompson spurns the Lakers' advances for the Mavs. And at that point, it's, oh, damn, this is depressing. The Lakers aren't going to get better. Their only signing was Max Christie. Somehow he got $8 million a year from the Lakers. So all of a sudden, LeBron looked heroic for like a 72-hour window, and then we get the news this morning right before the show, LeBron staying with the Lakers on a 2-year max deal. Womp, womp, sad trombone. It happens. LeBron tried. It was a valiant effort, and the Lakers end up with nobody. And now the question turns to, well, does nobody want to play with LeBron James? Is the Lakers brand damaged? Danny Hurley rejected them. Now free agents are giving him the Heisman. Or is Rob Pelinka just really bad at his job? And it's probably a little bit of all three, right? I mean, listen, you can't totally blame Klay Thompson for saying, yeah, I think I'm going to go to the Mavs because they got a better chance at the title, and they were just in the finals last year. And unequivocally, they're better than the Lakers. So you can't totally blame Klay Thompson, even though LeBron allegedly called Klay to recruit him. James Harden, I mean, why is he leaving the Clippers? It's his show now, right? Paul George, Clippers very clearly did not want him. We'll get to Paul George shortly. And essentially, James Harden's like, oh, damn, we got a new arena? We're going to be on TV all the time? Kawhi's probably going to miss half the season because that's what he does. And no Paul George? This is old school James Harden. I'm going to be rocking 20, 25 shots a game. Why would he go to the Lakers where he's going to be like the third banana to AD and LeBron? Obviously stay with the Clippers. The one that was kind of a slap in the face was Valanciunas picking the Wizards, the lowly Wizards. I mean, the dregs of the league. They're going to be tanking for Cooper Flagg. But, I'm sure LeBron was kind of hurt because you need somebody to guard Jokic as Nuggets have extinguished the Lakers the last 2 playoff runs. And I guess I kind of sort of am having to take like a positive reaction to this. And I know people are going to be upset because everybody wants to take shots at LeBron and hammer the Lakers. But hear me out, okay? What if the Lakers dodged a bullet by not landing Klay Thompson? Is that possible? Is it possible the Lakers dodged a depreciating asset in Klay Thompson? I know he had moments last season. I believe it was April. He went off and Klay had a really, really good month. It was like 8 or 9 games. But listen, between the pouting, the benching, I don't know if it was over his contract or he's just unhappy with the demise of the dynasty. Klay had some pretty rotten moments last year, and I won't even bring up the 0 for 10 to end the season in the play-in game against the Kings. So it's possible the Lakers dodged a bullet. And I'm going to hit you guys with a bit of a truth bomb here. I looked at the Lakers roster right before coming on the show. This kind of surprised me. They have 2 guys over the age of 30 on the entire roster. 2, AD and LeBron. That's it. This is a young team. So good news, big picture, macro. Hey, Lakers, they're building something. They brought in a young, smart coach in J.J. Redick to relate to the young guys. That's the good news. The bad news is, of course,